All right, to watch this video for November 10th, I'm going to start with ICON, which I know is a weird chart because you have a gap down and a red candle, then a gap up, and then a red candle again. I actually played this morning as a morning gap play. I think I called it as it came back right here through $8, and it went to 870 over the next 10 minutes. So when you look at the daily, say anyone who went long got burned, we got a 70-cent move in our favor in about 10 minutes. Had my daily goal in the bank in 10 minutes. So why is it back on watch again? The news is interesting. After the gap down, they had to restate earnings, something along those lines, and then you could see how nicely this got going this morning. Yes, it tapered off for the rest of the day, but this is still a name that might just be in a range. All right, so over 2 days, you've got a high of 870 and a low of 660. That's a pretty clearly defined range. So we get back down near that 660 area, might be worth a long attempt, and it's also worth having on a chart just in case news comes out, because I think that selling's overdone, but we'll wait and see. CSX, very nice. All the railroads were strong today, but very nice pop, 20 million shares, and a pretty decent close. I want to watch that for a possible red to green tomorrow, possible follow through. W had this nice pop back here in August, went all the way to 49.83. And then kind of flagging here well below those highs. About a week ago, it spiked to 46.95. Today's high, 46.39. I think this is a fairly low float and a fairly high short, although I didn't look it up. But so I do like it over today's high, which is 46.39. You get 46.40, unless you have a gap down and then it has to run a long way to get there. But over 46.40, it might just retake this high from about a week ago. And maybe break out. So I want to watch that one. I'm going to actually put in my notes 46.40 so I know where to watch it tomorrow. WPRT had this on watch a couple days ago, or actually for today, and it just didn't do anything. But I want to watch that again. I like the volume that it had on Friday, and today kind of a much lower volume day and a quiet day. I still think that one might have an upside push in it still. EFOI. Again, never gave a trigger today, but you have consecutive lower highs after this pop. You kind of basically filled the gap here, and a nice narrow range today. So over today's high, over 1627, you have Friday's high of 1693. So let's keep EFOI on watch as well. STRP, really nice move today. I actually mentioned this one. Let me go to 2-minute candles. Now, I didn't get a trade in this one, but I actually mentioned this. It was about 12.50. It was about right here. In other words, this candle hadn't gone up to here yet. And we already had it on the watch list. I told everybody that STRP was getting volume. Still hadn't broken the early highs, so I said it could be a possible grab right there in the chat room lingo that we use. It was around 12.50, 12.60, and went all the way up through 14. I didn't even take it because I'd already had my money in the bank for the day. But you know what? After this kind of a move from 11.50 to almost 15, and it tailed off for the next couple hours, that is possibly a coiled spring for another pop. So I want to watch STRP. DRAM, kind of my sleeper pick here. DRAM is a low float stock, had a nice pop on Friday, but gave most of it back. Then today, gaps up, closed below its open, but if you switch to 15-minute candles, it's kind of interesting. If it gets over, let's see, today's high, over $1.35, there's not a lot in the way. Let me switch to, all right, the weekly chart, not very telling. But this is kind of my sleeper pick. I like it. You might want to put in your notes 136 on DRAM. Low float, so something like that might just get moving. DYN, again, back down to these August lows and maybe a double bottom here, 3 days in a row down. Great candidate for a bounce. IFON. Now after this big breakout here, a couple days lower, so that goes on bounce watch. And then VTR, really nice 2-day push down. This is a possible bounce play. I'm trying to pan out here and see if that area is kind of interesting. Well, I'd love to see it get down, maybe sell off and get down to 48 tomorrow. That'd be a great spot to look for a bounce. And what I like to do is put a line on my chart here. So then tomorrow while I'm trading, if I see this on an intraday basis coming down to this line, that'll kind of be my reminder. And real quick, I'm going to share with you one of my favorite setups on the planet that we called today in Burlington Code Factory, BURL. All right, I noticed it lighting up the new low of day ticker. All right, and so I looked at it, and it was getting what we call intraday shape. Right there. Okay, so it's grinding lower. And look at the volume here. All these 5-minute candles are fairly equal in range from the low to the high. And then all of a sudden you have this really long one on big volume. And then this line is at the August low. So what I like to see when I'm getting intraday shape, third or fourth day down in a row, to an area that's really interesting on the chart where it bounced from before, usually I look for a flush below that line, which is exactly what we got. And by the time this came up, I put it on the chart. I showed everybody the setup and why I liked it so much, and it was about 43.64 when I mentioned it. So on the results page, I just put 43.70 to give a little cushion. But look at that, ended up going all the way up to over 46.50. And BURL might be something to watch for a continued bounce tomorrow. But anyway, look at this: 1, 2, 3, fourth day in a row, and remember, it was getting intraday shape down to those August lows. That's a great reversal setup. I mean, burn that one into your brain. My favorite setup on the planet. Doesn't happen very often, but it is a money setup when it happens. All right. We're going to look for gappers tomorrow as well in addition to this list, and I will leave it at that, and we'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a good night.